Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra, and today my guest is sitarist Shraman Sen from New York. Hi, Shraman. How are you?
Hi. Hello.
Hi. So he's been playing the sitar for the last 12 years. He's also Research Associate of Economics at Columbia University. So balancing, two things, economics and music. That's what Shraman is all about. He's a bundle of so much of energy and talent. And Shraman, I know last time I spoke to you was like some years ago, and in that whole process, you came out with a CD as well, which was directed by Bert Shapiro. He's a British documentary filmmaker. And after that, you were also showcased by IndiaGov. It's Meri Sarkar website, which has a lot of great material on India's heritage, whether it's music, arts, architecture, civilization. And you were one of the musicians that was showcased in that archival collection of music in my IndiaGov. So congratulations on that. So let's go back to your training that you got from two ustads. One was Ustad Shahid Parvez Ji, and the other is Ustad Hidayat Khan Ji. And I've had the fortune of interviewing both of them some years ago. So tell us what got you into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much again for having me. I'm really humbled. In terms of Indian classical music, for me, it was definitely an acquired taste. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I was born giving tal and laya and everything. It was definitely an acquired taste for me. I always say that whatever little amount of sitar I can play, the skills, of course, I acquired from my gurus. The talim that I've had over the years, Hidayat ji, Shahid ji now. But the passion and the love for the music definitely came from my grandfather, whose picture is actually right behind me. So my family's from Calcutta. As you know, Calcutta is kind of like the hub for Indian classical music, specifically North Indian, Hindustani. And I guess every single time I visited Calcutta, I would go to my grandfather's house, and there would always be some sort of recording of, some of the greats, vocal music, Firaz Khan Sahab, Badigo Ali Khan Sahab, from Sitar, Bilal Khan Sahab, Inat Khan Sahab. There would always be some sort of recording playing in the house. And initially, I had no idea what was going on, and I was only 8 or 9 at the time. So, but I guess slowly as I got older, I started to inquire, like, what is this music? I don't hear it much in my upbringing in New York. And so eventually, I think my grandfather, he started spending time with me, but he didn't rush the process. He didn't throw all the heavy weight at me, when I was very young. He slowly introduced me to the music, made me listen to small clips, starting with Panditji, Ravi Shankarji, because a lot of his music is, of course, it's serious classical, but he also did a lot of light music as well. So that was like a good introduction for me into the sitar. And then he taught me more about Bilal Khan Sahab's music, and then more about vocal music. So it got heavier and heavier and heavier. And slowly, it was an acquired taste for me. It took me some time to understand it, but I always say that he taught me how to first understand the music, and then he taught me how to appreciate it, and then eventually taught me how to love it. So it was a gradual process. But now, he's not with us physically, but I can't imagine my life without the music. So I owe it a lot to him, and of course my gurus as well.
Wow. Yeah, so it's been a great journey, and it's incremental, as you said. It's just slowly you get to that. You have to have a passion for it, and then the commitment and dedication. How many hours do you put in every day?
Probably not as much as I should. It gets tough. When I was a student, bachelor's, master's, and now I'm working full time. So it gets tough. I try, like on the weekends, I definitely try to catch up. I try to give at least a few hours a day on the weekends. When I'm off, I try to at least give 2-3 hours a day. So, but at least, like, even if it's a really busy day in the office or something, at least I try to pick up the sitar once a day, just to make sure my hands are, still moving. So, but it's pretty variable, trying to be more consistent as time goes on.
That's great. So let's hear it from you. I think you're going to be playing for me Rag Kamaj, which is very light. And that's what we need in the summertime.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a small composition originally composed by Hazrat Amir Khusro back when the Mughals were around. Yeah, in Hindustan. So it's loosely based on Rag Khamaj. It's a dhun or a qawwali type of composition. Usually I would play it with tabla, but since it's just me on sitar today, I'll play it in a very melodic, deliberate way instead of the usual rhythmic way.
Yeah, you just feel with this raga, like it just hypnotically transforms your mood. I mean, all ragas do that, they go through those 9 sentiments, and whether it's happiness or peace or amazement or disgust or anger. There's so many 9 sentiments at the top.
Yeah.
And this raga, I just felt like I was sitting on the bank of the river and there's a gentle breeze blowing. You feel so peaceful and light,
Yeah, light.
That's what it does. Each raga has that mood and the tone.
Yep.
It sets that, and it's beautiful. I mean, you could have gone on forever on that. So Shraman, you have also collaborated with Hemanta Goswami in Calcutta. He's from the Boomi Band in Calcutta, and that band created a lot of awareness and visibility about transgender issues. And I think at the World Transgender Day, they had a performance as well. And you've been collaborating with them, right? Share with us with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was informed about this project last year. A common family friend connected me with Hemanta Goswami. He's a popular musician in Calcutta, as you said, part of the Boomi Band. Boomi Band has been around for a long, long time, originally from Bengal, and then they performed all over India and then North America and other continents as well. And so Hemanta Goswami, he gave me a call sometime end of last year, and he told me about this project. And we all know about the situation of the transgender community everywhere, but specifically in India and South Asia, it's not very bright. There's a lack of awareness. They don't have the same amount of rights, and it's very unfortunate. And music is an art, but it's also an amazing vehicle for social change.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel and this is what he was telling me. Actually, he was like, we as lovers of music, we have the responsibility to use this form of expression to bring about change for good, because that's the whole point. Ultimately, it's about making people happy, but it's you can go more than that as well. So he told me about this project. It's a music and abhinaya piece. Abhinaya meaning acting, sorry. And he said that what we're going to do, it's not going to be pure Indian classical, which is fine. It's going to be a combination of Indian instruments and Western instruments. So he plays guitar, and he said that this is the composition. So the whole idea was his idea. I think it was a phenomenal idea, and the whole orchestration, the instrumentation was his brainchild. And he was like, we would love for you to put some sitar into this for 2-3 minutes. And the idea would be to have this music abhinaya piece where someone will be acting the role of someone from that community, the transgender community, and it'll basically show the progression of their life, right? How they're born, unfortunately, how they're not accepted by their own parents in India, but this could be related to South Asia or in general, how they're working hard and they're not given rather the same opportunities.
They're ostracized, they're marginalized.
Yeah, exactly. And how they have to work harder than the rest of us to get to achieve the same things. The amount of effort that we have to put in, they have to probably double that or much more just to get the same rights and achieve the same things. But of course, because we wanted to end the production on a happy note, so we showed at the end how they graduated, and eventually they were accepted by their family. So that's one step. But eventually the goal is for them to be accepted by everyone, not just their family, of course, but to be accepted by everyone. So that was the message of the production. And then, I was very humbled to be on the music side of things. Musically speaking, it was tough because I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Hemantaji in person yet. Hopefully next time I go to Calcutta, I will. So I had to, everything was orchestrated virtually. So he gave me the track. And he was initially explaining it to me in like Western terminology because he's a guitar player and I had no idea what's going on. I'm like, sir, I respect you, but you have to break this down to me in a more simple way because I don't understand this whole idea of bars and stuff. But it worked out. I went to a studio in Manhattan, I got it recorded, and it was amazing to see the final production, which was released in Calcutta, I think sometime in March. And it was just a great experience.
That's wonderful. It all creates a paradigm shift in society.
Yep.
Rethinking, being part of all these issues creates more awareness and raises the bar on how we look at things. Yep. So you were, and you're part of the archival music collection of the Indian government. It's MyGov India Sarkar.
Yeah.
What was that music that you played for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was in 2020. So the world shut down, and for MyGov India, they have been around for a while, but I think starting 2020, they started to really amplify their digital archives, where they started to showcase snippets of musicians playing, but not just music. It's kind of a miscellaneous category. In general, people who are kind of showcasing Indian heritage and culture and taking it next step forward. So I was humbled to be part of it. I have to give credit to Pandit Tarun Bhattacharya, who's a santoor player. He's a family friend, so he gave me this opportunity, and he told me to play a small rendition of Vaishnava Jana, which is it's a bhajan, originally Gujarati, so I won't be able to say all the lyrics. Of course, I'm not fluent in the language, but it's a beautiful bhajan. And so he was like, why don't you play that bhajan? It's a bhajan that's very optimistic. It's very positive. It has a lot of light, and that's what the world needs right now. So he was like, why don't you, and it's also in Raag Khamaj, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's also in Raag Khamaj. So you can see how
Favorite,
Raag Khamaj is, epitomizes this feeling of positivity and light. And so he was like, why don't you play that for a few minutes and elaborate a little bit in Raag Khamaj and send it over? Don't make it more than 8-9 minutes. It's supposed to be a small, way of your offering. And so I did that, and yeah, it was well received. And again, it was a very nice experience.
Yeah, that's great to be part of the digital archives
Yeah,
in music collection for the government of India. It's MyGov India, right?
MyGov India.
Yeah. And recently, Shraman, you performed for your guru, Ustad Shahid Parvez.
Mhm.
Went to Phoenix and he asked you to perform at Guru Purnima. That's a great honor.
Thank you. Yeah, that was scary, to say the least, of course. I flew all the way to Phoenix. It was last weekend. So I flew all the way to Phoenix, and yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I can't explain with words. He's very humble. I started taking sessions with him since 2017, but this was the first time I had the opportunity to actually play for him in an auditorium setting. And yeah, it was fantastic just to spend the whole weekend with him. Other Sitar students were there as well, so interacting with them. We were all in his house in Phoenix, and we got to interact with him, hear him play all the time. He's very humble. I would say he's the greatest sitar player around right now. But he really epitomizes humility, which is fantastic. And I think it's a lesson for all musicians. If someone like Shahidji could be humble, then I think we all should just be humble ourselves. But yeah, he shared so many stories with us, so many different compositions and so many different ragas, taught us a lot of things. And then, yeah, Saturday night, we all went to an auditorium, and that's where, there were group performances, but we all got to perform for him. And then he performed himself. So it was a fantastic musical weekend. Yeah.
You always get that. Do you get the feeling of little tension? I'm performing in front of my guru, my mentor, my teacher. Am I up to his expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. We're never up to the expectations. And yeah, I was nervous, flying in from Phoenix, the night before as I was packing my sitar. Yeah, I was definitely nervous, no doubt. But again, he's very friendly. And so he definitely made it easy for us. And, but I was definitely, very nervous, but the sense of tension was very palpable amongst all of us. There were a lot of sitar students. So we were all nervous together, and that definitely helped.
Wow. Okay. What are you going to play next for me?
Yeah.
My other favorite raga is Hamsdwani, which is an early night raga.
Hamsdwani is an early night raga. It's originally a South Indian raga. The reason I showed this, or chose this rather for today, was I wanted to briefly show the creative genius of some of these ustads in our system. So there's a big sitar player, Ustad Rais Khan Sahab, who was a contemporary of Ustad Vilayat Khan Sahab. And so there's a story behind the composition I'm about to just play. So we all know the tune for the Big Ben, the clock. And so he listened to this tune of the Big Ben, and he was able to relate that to Rag Hamsadhwani. And then from that, he made it into a composition, which is honestly mind-blowing. So I'll just like to show that a little bit with whatever I can. So the rag itself, it's a pentatonic rag. The basic scale is. And so the Big Ben tune, as we know, it's everyone heard it at some point in life. It's just. So Star Ice Khan Sahab, he heard this, he related it to an Indian classical raga, and then he came up with the following composition. So I thought this was a really cool story of how he came up with this composition from like a tune that's not associated with Indian classical music. So
Yeah.
they were creative geniuses, those thoughts in our, in our music. So.
Awesome. What advice would you give to students who are embarking on this journey, music journey, and they need that impetus and they need that, some sort of a push, especially when you're living outside of your country, outside of India, and you may not get that full resources, and plus you're working on jobs and trying to continue your musical journey. What advice would you give them?
Oh, yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. It's tough.
I mean, you've gone through those challenges yourself while you're doing your bachelor's and your master's.
Absolutely, yeah. It's tough. I mean, in terms of advice, if I can say anything, it's the first thing is you have to love the music. You won't get anywhere.
That's the basic, of course.
Yeah, that's the basic. Like if you don't, and again, it's okay if it's an acquired taste. For me, it was completely acquired. I wasn't born. There weren't any stories that my parents told me that, oh, hey, Shraman, when you were 2 years old, you were completely drawn to the sitar. Like that didn't happen. I guess I first started, truly appreciating it when I was like 10 or 11. So spend some time seeing if you actually enjoy it. It's not for everyone. Classical music, whether it's Western or Eastern, Indian, whatever it is, it's not for everyone. Spend some time seeing if you actually enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, and and you're listening to it all the time, like I listen to all the time, even if I don't have time to play the sitar, I always listen to classical music. I can't, going to work, when I'm in work, on the subway. So if you find yourself in that position, that means you really love it. So that part is that you check that box, which is great. The next thing is, this is a cliche, but you have to practice. Like there's no end to it. I can speak on behalf of the sitar. It is a long process because, it takes time for your fingers to get that callus, that groove, right? So probably the first,
I would say calluses,
Yeah, it's a painful process too. It's not like, you can just, pick up the sitar and start playing notes. I would say the first 12 to 15 months of your, if you're playing sitar specifically, you won't be able to make a good sound out of the sitar because your fingers are getting used to that. It takes time to develop that callus. So give it time. You have to practice, get, a good solid guru, get, a good place to, like you go on YouTube, there are a lot of, YouTube videos that teach you how to, sing or teach you how to, play tabla or sitar. I personally don't think that'll get you too far. You actually have to have guru or, whom you go to in person and, get taught him in person. Give it time. So if you love it, then that means you're ready to put in the hours and be patient with it. And in terms of, obviously everyone's busy, everyone's either a student or working. I think it's all about finding the balance, which is something I'm struggling with myself. So, or maybe not struggling, but trying to figure out as life goes on. Try to really find that balance between working and but that I can't speak on behalf. That's a really individual thing. People will, I guess, the more people learn, people realize what balance really works for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the biggest thing is just love for the music, and then just being ready to put in the hours.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you have to have that passion
Mhm.
and to breathe, live, and just feel music all the time, and have that persistence and the commitment. You somehow have to balance your life with music. Has to be that part of that. You have to create that space always for that. And then and I think that's probably the way to go, I would think. I mean, I'm into Hindustani classical music, but unless you don't feel it,
Mhm.
breathe it, all the time,
Yep.
you have to love it to madness, literally. I think.
Yes, you have to. You have to love it, man. You have to listen to it all the time.
Yes.
Imdad Khan Sahab, who's the grandfather of Ustad Bilal Khan Sahab, he said that your talim, your training, like 80% of that is listening.
Yeah.
80% of that is listening to the greats, feeling the music. And of course, you have to play as well, but listening and always feeling the music, that has to be a constant, no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's true. That's why we have 2 years and 1 month,
Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
And Shraman, what next can we expect from you? Because every time I interview you, you're moving on with something, releasing in CD or getting in the digital archives.
That's a great question. I'm looking forward to it because the world is opening up. So like, we're again playing in person again, which is great. I mean, doing digital archives are nice. It reaches to a larger audience, but nothing comes close to actually sitting on stage and performing. So I'm looking forward to more of that. Last weekend was fantastic, sitting on stage performing in front of Shahid Ji. That was, as I said, nerve-wracking, but it was a great experience once it was done. So I'm looking forward to more, in-person recitals. I haven't gone to India since COVID, so I look forward to going more to India, hopefully doing more work there, collaborating with different types of musicians, and of course doing pure classical gigs as well. So yeah, hopefully just as the world as the world continues to open up, doing more in-person shows and meeting more musicians in person and more collaborations. That would definitely be the goal.
Would you like to collaborate with Western musicians as well? We're not talking about fusion, we're talking about collaboration. So you have your own music, they have theirs, and still you can have a great melody.
Yeah, absolutely. Fusion, I mean, there are many different takes on
Fusion's confusion, I feel, many times.
Yeah. I think Bilal Khan Sahab once said that, he said in Hindi, but he was basically like, what is fusion? I don't understand. That was a different time period, so I understand. Now in the modern age, it's a common trend. And I'm definitely open to it if it's done well and if it's orchestrated by someone who understands my instrument completely. Because I've had experiences where I tried to do fusion with Western instrumentalists and they had no idea about what the sitar was. And the orchestrator was trying to force the sitar into a Western context without understanding first what the sitar is. Those experiences I personally will not do again. But if it's for something where people actually understand what our music is, what the sitar can do, then I'm open to it. Absolutely. But it's difficult. It's not easy. But yeah, I'm definitely willing to try.
I hope you do more performances now and travel and have more collaborations with other artists.
Mhm.
And, that's what keeps an artist going. And how are you going to manage with your research and your sitar playing?
Yeah, I think that's a tricky one. Yeah, still trying
It's
to
a
figure
hard
it out.
one.
Yeah, I guess for the time being, I'll try to juggle both. My ultimate goal is to do a PhD, as you did, so that would be great. You could probably speak more about this, but I think a cool thing about PhD is it's your research. You don't always have a boss telling you what to do. Of course, you have to, you have a lot of academic commitments, but I do look forward to, hopefully after my full-time research associate position's over, if I could get into a doctorate program, then I can do my research at my pace. I can do my music at my own pace, set my own schedule accordingly. So whatever academic career I fall into, there has to be flexibility because I don't plan on leaving my music, of course.
Yeah. Not after 12 years of the musical journey that you've had, and you want to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. All the talim I got from my gurus, the inspiration I got from my grandfather, it wouldn't do justice to them if I were to just drop it all right now. So I'm going to try doing both as best as I can for now.
Well, thank you very much, Shraman Sen. And I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. Stay healthy, stay positive. If you have a story to share, please send us an email. Until next week, take care.